The Eagles absolutely dominated Super Bowl 59. Patrick Mahomes now has 2 losses by a combined 40 points. Jay, what did you see in this game?
I saw one team that achieved every PowerPoint goal early in the week. You know, head coaches put up, hey, we got to stop the run. Hey, we got to be dominant line of scrimmage. No penalties, no turnovers. Kick their ass. Get after the quarterback. That's what the Eagles did. And on the flip side, the Chiefs did nothing they wanted to do other than stop Saquon Barkley, which was a huge feat in itself. But offensively, they did nothing. They didn't cross midfield till after third quarter. They had 1 or 2 first downs in the first half. Everything the Chiefs were about offensively, they failed. They loved the run pass options, a quick passing game. They couldn't get that done. They were 50% on third down conversion rate throughout the season. They were 1 for 10 in their first 11. So yeah, they did nothing they wanted to do. Philadelphia did everything they wanted to do.
Yeah, Jay mentioned that they couldn't get into rhythm, obviously, and I think part of that probably had to do a little bit with getting behind early, but he's gotten behind early in every Super Bowl he's been a part of. Colt, what did you see?
Yeah, I think that's right. When they got behind early, it really showed some of the Chiefs' flaws. They've played within close games all year long. They've never really been blown out. And when they got behind, who do you throw to? Where's our playmakers? They couldn't run the ball. It really kind of exposed them. More important than that, they couldn't protect Patrick Mahomes. He was hit all night. 6 sacks. Josh Sweat was on like another planet. It was obvious from the very beginning when the Eagles got up a couple scores, it was going to be a long night for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And he fought, he battled. Man, he's such a competitor. But at the end of the day, like they couldn't do anything. Nobody was open. The pressure was relentless on him. And then on the flip side, I mean, Jalen Hurts played outstanding. He really did. He never got touched either. When it was close, he scrambled around. He made plays. He was outstanding all night long. You got to give him his flowers. On offense, they controlled the game. They did what they wanted to do. And if you stop Saquon Barkley, which they did, they were able to find A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Everybody was open, right? And Jalen Hurts made great decisions. They are a well-coached football team with a ton of talent. And they let it all out on the line last night and just demolished the Chiefs.
Yeah, this game came down to exactly what I thought it was going to come down to, and that was the trenches, right? I think at the end of the day, the offensive line for the Eagles did exactly what they were supposed to do. They gave Jalen time. They made him comfortable. He didn't take any hits early, which, as you know, as quarterbacks, right? Like, if you get hit early, you're thinking about it. So if Patrick Mahomes takes a hit or 2 on the first drive, it's like, okay, I know what I got to be dealing with the rest of the game. And you want to make these guys comfortable. You want to make the quarterbacks comfortable early. Yeah. Whenever you're able to keep them comfortable, Jalen Hurts was able to play his game, to play the game that he wanted to play. And the Eagles O-line did exactly what they were supposed to do. And on the other side, I thought exactly what was going to happen. They've gotten away with it all postseason, not having good tackles and having Tooney out at left tackle. Tooney struggled. He absolutely struggled. And
that's what I was going to say, because when you're backed up playing quarterback, I don't care if you're Tom Brady, if you're Patrick Mahomes, when you can see the things in front of you, pressure from the right side, you can move and adjust. When your left tackle gets bulldozed all the way into your plant leg and you're trying to throw the ball across the middle and it comes up short and it's a pick, it's your second pick. You've already turned the ball over once. Like, you got big problems, right? Because now you're getting hit by things you can't see. It just snowballed after that. And I mean, it was hard to watch. I mean, the Chiefs are going to be a really good football team for a long time. Obviously, there's some question marks, like, is Travis Kelce coming back, all that. But with Patrick Mahomes at the helm, like, these guys are going to be great, right? But in a game like that, when you're getting hit early, you're getting hit by things you can't see. You throw a couple picks that, he hadn't really turned the ball over since November, right? And you're in the first half of the Super Bowl. This was out of hand early, and you got to give credit to Vic Fangio and this Eagles defense and this pass rush. Their one-on-one pass rush completely dominated. And like you said, the trenches. On the flip side, their front five, their offensive line completely dominated the line of scrimmage. I know they didn't run the ball that great, but Hurts, he stood back there all day and just dropping bombs. Right. So that was the difference.
Yeah, I think another thing, too, real quick, just to piggyback off of was I loved what Vic Fangio did. His game plan was pretty cool because there's 2 different ways you can attack Mahomes, right? You can either collapse the pocket, try and flush him, and then have somebody out there. But I think what they did such a good job of was they rushed all 4 up the field, right? They'd get in that split look, 2 wide, 3 techniques on the outside shoulder of the guards, rush them up wide, force him to step up, and then the DNs always were folding up underneath, right? It created natural picks and natural twists all night long. So unbelievable game plan, unbelievable offensive line, defensive line performance by the Eagles, and that's why they won. Jalen Hurts played his ass off too.
Come on, Jay, give me your thoughts.
Uncharacteristic Chief football. Even defensively, they had a chance to get off the field twice. And Nick Bolton had the personal foul and McDuffie had the personal foul. Those are two huge plays. That allowed Philadelphia to get points. Had it not been for those penalties there, we're looking at like a 7-3 game at the half. And the Chiefs still are right in it. It wasn't like this was a bloodbath for the Eagles on offense. They had a couple nice plays, yes, but the Chiefs were holding their own except for those two huge penalties. And then it got out of hand after the pick 6 by Cooper DeJean, and then the second pick by Zach Bond back-to-back. So instead of going at halftime 10-3 or 10-7, it was 24-0. And that's tough to recover from a team that relies on their multi-dimension run-pass options. Now you take that out. Now we're all pass. You're all done, Kansas City. That's the difference in the game.
Let me pose one question to both you. I'll start with you, Jay, because you're the coach, right? So you sit here at the beginning of the week, and I tell you, you are going to hold Saquon Barkley to under 60 yards rushing. You think you win that game?
Oh, yeah. Well, we got to look at other things. How many turnovers we got? How do we do on third down?
But just that one statistic, you feel good.
I feel great. 100%. We're going to win this football game. But then you look at we were 1 for 10 on third down. Holy shit. We turned the ball over how many times? Yeah. No, that's tough. That's tough business. But I do think the Kansas City Chiefs defense played pretty damn hard. They gave up the big play to Devontae and A.J. Brown on the shallow cross. They got picked a little bit. They played good enough football to actually make that game competitive and close. Offensively, it was just an absolute train wreck in the first half. 23 yards of offense for a Kansas City Chief, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid-led football team in a half. Can you believe that? Anybody predicted that?
It was 189 yards to 23 at the half. I mean, tough sledding going into half. Colt, in this game, do you see this as more of a failure by the Chiefs' offensive line, or do you think this was Vic Fangio with a masterclass on defense?
I think it was a little bit of both, to be honest. I think they had an answer. Like you said, anytime Mahomes got flushed, they had people in the secondary spying him, rolling with him, somewhere in that mid-level range to make sure that, their defenders could play deep and guys could take away the checkdowns, and like taking that away was outstanding coaching. I also think that their offensive line got dominated all night. And if the Eagles wanted to win with a 4-man rush and disguise their coverages and play all kinds of different double team to certain guys, they were able to do that too. And so he went back and forth all night long playing that game of cat and mouse. And when you're playing with a lead, you're up. You get 17-0 on the Chiefs. You can do a lot of things on defense. You can pressure. You can rush 4. You don't really have to stop the run. The Chiefs have to throw it to get back in the game. His playbook was wide open. I just thought it was total dominance by the Eagles defense, especially when they got the lead.
Jay, what did you see? Do you think that was more Chiefs O-line, or do you think it was Vic Fangio and his defense?
Well, I think it was the defense. Milton Williams showed up big. Josh Sweat, 2.5 sacks. Josh Sweat is not a great pure pass rusher. He was last night. Yeah, so I think the defensive line totally dominated. Even when the Chiefs did try to run the ball, I think they ran it like 6 times for like 12 yards or something like that. They had no holes whatsoever. So the front, when your defensive line can dominate like that with a 4-man rush and still stop the run, you're going to have problems offensively. And that's what it was. And offensively, the Chiefs had no answers. It's tough to relegate a bunch of people in protection. Let's chip both sides. Well, you can chip both sides, but then one of those defensive linemen are going to be free. The center can only go one way, AQ. The other one's going to be free. And Milton Williams had a big day. Obviously, we mentioned the rest of the guys on the defense line. They're well coached. They're big. They're strong. They're athletic. Jordan Davis. These guys are good players. And when you don't have to rush 5 and 6 to get pressure, you're in for a long night for the opposing offense.
Yeah, our boy Justin Pugh would be very proud. Howie Roseman has done a fantastic job
constructing Howie Roseman, man.
constructing that defense, constructing that offense. Listen, at the end of the day, you guys nailed it. I think it's a combination of both, but I think the biggest issue, again, we've talked about this. I've talked about this ad nauseum. The 2 tackles, right? That's been an issue. It's been an issue for them for 5 years, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
They've been able to get away with it. They've been able to escape it. They moved Tooney out there. There was a part of me that thought they were going to try and move Tooney back inside and try DJ Humphries in the second half, because it couldn't have gotten worse. He was getting pressed. He was getting pressed into the quarterback. The right tackle was getting pressed. Jalen Carter was the better D tackle in this game, guys. I don't want to pat myself on the back here, but I said it.
My issue is when you move Tooney to tackle, now your left guard's worse. And
exactly.
Now you're worse at both positions, really. I know I have a lot of respect for what he did at left tackle for not being a true left tackle. So let's give him his props. But
no question,
they were a lot weaker at left guard because he made that move as well. I mean, that guy Caliendo was just getting bull rushed through right back into the quarterback as well. So that's tough for the Chiefs, man. I've been in a position before where I've lost a lot of offensive linemen. Cole, I don't know if you remember, we had 35 different line combinations one year. I had to put tape on the guys' helmets. What's your name? Oh, here's a snap count, by the way. It's Friday before a game. Very difficult to rotate guys in and out. So, yes, I can feel their pain, but you hate to worsen both two positions where you can just try to get by with one and help the left tackle. I would like to see DJ Humphrey myself, but I don't know his injury status.
I'll just say one thing. Harold Goodwin was my O-line coach for a very long time, and he was a big proponent. If let's say I was a backup swing, but I was predominantly a center, he was very adamant about not switching two positions. So like if a guard went down, we were going to put someone else in there because he didn't want to lose the backup snap hand and then have to rotate two guys, exactly to your point. So now you have different left guard, different center. And it's kind of to your point, right? Like I think it would have been very easy to just leave that interior three as good as they are together and then try and figure out the outside, right?
Yeah, the outside, at least you know your weakness. You can put a tight end over there. You can offset your back over there, give them some help, but now you got the left tackle and left guard that need help. And now we're sliding this way. Oh, Jalen Carter's over there. Oh, we got problems. I know Trey Smith is a hell of a player, but golly, we need to help him out every now and then too. So yeah, they just could never get it going. And the fact they were in known passing situations a lot, they got down early. They didn't have any threat of the running game. That really puts a lot more pressure on you as an offensive line. There's not a lot of offensive lines in the NFL right now that can come back from a situation where the Chiefs were in last night with known passing situations trailing. It's a struggle for all of them.
I think the Chiefs also knew early in the game that this was going to be a passing game. We weren't going to be able to run the ball as many times as we wanted, right? They started the game throwing it like 8 or 9 times, maybe running it once. I know there's a couple RPOs.
That's their whole game is their RPOs. They just pull it if they get the look.
It could have been a few runs if it's the right look. But when you do that, when you start the game, you're kind of telling a little bit of the weakness of our group, of our protection, of our offensive line. What are our strengths aren't as much of a strength as it has been throughout the year based on what we're playing with up front. And from the very beginning, it showed.
Yeah, what they want to do offensively, the Chiefs, they want to be first down, 2nd and 6, 3rd and 2, and convert on 3rd down. And that's how they maintain drives. They keep their defense fresh. That's how they win games all season long. When they go first down, 2nd down, now it's 3rd down, they punt, and then their defense is right back on the field. And then they get the ball back, and they go 1st, 2nd, 3rd down, punt again. They're not very good, obviously. Then they get behind. They're one-dimensional. Now they start to panic. We got to throw it. They're not that type of team this year. They don't have the weapons on the outside. They don't have the line to protect Patrick. So they just got out of what they like to do offensively, and that they became one-dimensional, and they're not good at that.
One more thing. I would say the best throw of the night, Jalen Hurts threw some dimes, right? But the throw from Patrick Mahomes late in the game to Xavier Worthy from the slot, running right through quarters, dropping in a bucket. Like, we haven't seen that since Tyreek Hill 5-6 years ago. He took a 9-step drop and just let it fly. The game's over at this point. But that was a ridiculous throw.
I was in bed thinking that I won my Patrick Mahomes lower 248 yards passing and woke up the next day. How'd they score their last touchdown? 50. Oh my God. He went over by a yard or higher. You gotta be kidding me. But yeah, I was in bed. That was a bloodbath. This episode of Clean Pocket is sponsored by Roe. We all know the best gifts are experiences, especially for romantic holidays like Valentine's Day. Chocolates, stuffed animals, and flowers are overrated. What your partner really wants is real romance and great sex. Rose Sparks are a 2-in-1 prescription treatment for stronger, harder erections. They hit the bloodstream faster because they dissolve under the tongue. After they've dissolved, they work in 15 minutes on average. Roe connects guys with medical provider 100% online, so there's no awkward conversation with in-person providers. Be ready for play with Rose Sparks. If prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with a provider at ro.co/pocket to find out if prescription Rose Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/pocket for $15 off your first order. I think it's up there with the worst Super Bowl defeat. When you have a chance to make history, become the first team to three-peat, and you get beat like that, it's a pretty bad loss. I think the other loss, would be probably the Giants over the Patriots, and the Patriots undefeated, had the best team I can remember in the National Football League. They lost. That's probably another one that ranks up there in my memory.
I was a part of the 49ers in 2013 when we lost to the Seattle Seahawks, the back of the end zone in the NFC Championship game, the Crabtree Sherman scuffle, and then the Seahawks go and beat the Broncos 43-8. First Super Bowl in New York that year. That was a pretty big blowout from the very beginning. You know, they snapped the ball over Peyton's head and it just compounded after that. It wasn't really close.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
I got the sense at like, you know, when it was 17-0, that like, okay, this is the Chiefs. This is Patrick Mahomes. This is Travis Kelce. Like, these guys are going to figure it out. They're going to at least make it close again. And it just got worse and worse and worse. So with what was on the line with the three-peat, I mean, it's hard to argue that this could be one of the toughest defeats and the toughest games, you know, for a Super Bowl with what was on the line for the Chiefs being a three-peat. But listen, it's hard to win in the NFL. We all know that. We've been there. It's definitely hard to win a Super Bowl. I can't imagine how hard it is to win 3 in a row. So Chiefs are still going to be a great football team for a long time because they got number 15. But the Eagles, they deserve everything they got. I mean, Jalen Hurts played outstanding. Saquon Barkley, what a year he had. And the dominance on the interior. That's what wins football games.
Yeah, I think it's got to be up there as well. I mean, that score was not indicative of how bad that game was. I mean, honestly, it was. They could get nothing going. Obviously, they were dominated on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Jalen played, I mean, I think his best 2 games were his last 2 games of this year. I mean, at the end of the day, like, he played incredible in the championship game, played incredible in the Super Bowl, and they made it easy on him, right? They made it easy on him. He had easy throws. He was sitting there playing 7-on-7, no pressure, easy. And obviously defensively, they were able to play their asses off. And then once you're able to get a lead, that Eagles team's tough to come back from. I think the one thing that we need to talk about a little bit too is the fact that, like, we keep putting Brady and Mahomes in this stratosphere, right? And they probably are, right? Like, I think at the end of the day, they may very well go down as 1-2. I think the interesting thing to take note of is the fact that Tom Brady has 3 Super Bowl losses by a combined total of 14 points. Patrick Mahomes already has 2 Super Bowl losses by a combined 40 points. Big difference. The games that he's losing, they're not even in it.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Tom Brady has regained his GOAT status for sure, but there's still a lot of time left for Patrick Mahomes to come make a run at him. Yeah, so yeah, they're both great players, but I'm not putting anybody past Brady. Not now, not yet. Not for a long time, my friend.
I love listening to Brady's commentary when they were talking about, hey, you know, it can be done. You guys were down 28-3 in the Super Bowl and you came back, and you kind of felt that as a fan watching the game. Obviously, it didn't happen, but it just, I mean, what Tom Brady was able to accomplish in his career is, I mean, obviously unbelievable.
In football, every game means more during the playoffs, and you can start your own personal playoffs on Underdog, where you could cash in on touchdowns, interceptions, yards, or more. All you have to do is pick higher or lower, and you could take home up to 1,000 times your money if you get your picks right. It's that simple. Millions of fans have already won billions of dollars making picks. Sign up for Underdog today using promo code POCKET, capital POCKET, and you'll get a free pick as a part of your first cash entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Again, that's promo code POCKET.